All right. Just give everybody some time again. I felt I should basically just go live again. And hello, first person here. I pushed it because I was super tired after class. Just by, I don't know, I kept passing out. I'm like, how am I going to do a live like this? Anyway, I just felt very strongly that I needed to go live again. And here I am. I'd really had to make myself though do it today because I'm really I guess emotional out of it. Even in class, couldn't really focus or put much into it because I'm just grieving about everybody and all the losses that has been taking place with lives and nature and animals and homes and just memories of people growing up in those beautiful areas and now gone. Last time I talked about Hawaii, and Hawaii is still very sad and upsetting. What's going on as more information is being leaked. Aside from people not being able to get the locals getting any help except from FEMA on FEMA's terms that you give up all your rights and freedoms. There are also locals that are being shot, and hi Michael. Locals are being shot and they're being robbed, and my light just died, so oh well, no light. And cops are fighting over their jewelry, their rings, and things like that. On top of that, houses that are perfectly fine from the fire, not fires, dew, Mountain Dew is, I don't believe I mentioned this term in the last video, but I'm using it now. It's probably a hot word right now too, so I gotta be careful with it. Do you know what DO stands for? I can say look it up, but I guess I could also try to tell you as well. It's a direct. This is what the D stands for. E stands for energy, and W stands for weapon. Basically lasers. So anyway, I'll get back to that. People's houses who are still habitable and fine are getting eviction notices in Hawaii, being told that they have to move ASAP. They still have to pay their rent and everything, of course, because they're getting some bullshit excuse from FEMA that they have to evacuate, that it's not safe or whatever. So they're just crying and super upset and not sure where to go. And all these people are being herded to areas again where you have to sign away all your freedoms. And so this is also happening in Canada. I live in Canada. I'm in British Columbia, as well as Alberta and Winnipeg, Manitoba, where I was born, is also on fire. Northwest Territories is also on fire. All these directed energy weapons. Kelowna is about 5 hours from here, and I don't know if you guys remember me talking about my Alberta trip, and I actually, the only place I was able to stop was actually West Kelowna, which is now in flames. And I'm really wondering, and I haven't gotten any news yet about the kangaroo farm, those roos, if anybody was able to pick them up or anything, or if they're okay. And just looking at pictures all day and talking to people all day and posting as much as I can to try to get this out as much as I can, and encouraging everyone to do the same. And I'm glad to see how many people are posting, that it really is a lot to keep keep up with, but I'm just doing it. I could barely function with my job. Actually, I was so consumed with this, but a lot of my other coworkers too, you know, have friends up in Kelowna that and Northwest Territories and things like that that we were concerned about. But and just, you know, checking with people all day to see if they're okay, making sure they don't go to Edmonton or wherever they're being directed to, because Edmonton in Alberta is a big homeless city now of people. And it looks like what the agenda is at first people thought that, well, they were gonna destroy the cities, but really it's destroying the farmland, the land where people are trying to be off grid and be in the country and grow their own stuff and just destroy that precisely so people are forced into the cities and then not let them out. So this idea of the ringing cedars and wanting your own kin's domain and space of love, as beautiful as an idea as that is, I feel like, let's say fortunate, not fortunate, that's not the right word because it's still sad, that it hasn't happened for me yet in that way. I mean, I have a yard and everything and a garden that we've done our best with, but like the actual thing that she's described in the books, and like I say, it's wonderful and it's great and it's definitely needed, but at this time when they can just direct a weapon at your any area, any place, you know, in the world, because it's not just Canada, it's also South America, to my understanding. It's Central America. It's all over the States. It's LA. It's Texas. It's Florida. It's all over Europe. I was trying to look at a local map to try to, a world map to try to see Africa, all in flames. Middle East, all in flames. Yeah, it breaks my heart. I'm absolutely lost for words, I guess. Just feeling so heavily for everybody, and just how fast they're going towards these things. And you know me, I think you guys who've known me for a while and followed me for a while, you know that I've always been positive about these things, but I get emotional for everybody too. I'm an empath, and I fall into concern too. I still trust and feel like we're taken care of, and this is to be used as a tool to wake up a lot of people. But I've also had to deal with a lot of spiritual people even who channel and are well known and everything, and I'm very surprised at a lot of them not even talking about this at all. And that makes me lose respect for them right away. Even people who I've admired, like Jewel, isn't really talking about this as much, you know? Ren is talking maybe a little bit about the censorship in Canada and how you can't get a lot of stuff in or out right now, so it's quickly becoming like China, and it's scary, and they want us in fear, of course. But oh gosh, let me just look at your messages. This fire and all of this is terrifying. I've just started reading Anastasia today, 100 pages, and it is a beautiful book. I will complete it tomorrow, I think. By the way, I was sent in the last live, Kale, I don't know if he's here, I didn't let him know that I'm doing a live, I'll probably just send him a message and tell him, but someone told me that the PDF books are down now, those links, but we've saved copies of them, so I'm just going to put them up on my website, jessicaschaub.com. Ugh, why does my last name sound so much like Klaus Schwab? It's horrible. I'd rather just pronounce it as Schwab. That's a lot more better to me. Rather sound like a hawk and a phlegm than be associated with that name. And yeah, so those books will still be available and free for everybody, the green original version. Well, of course I'm upset. I'm upset for I'm an empath. I put myself in everybody's shoes. I feel everybody's, you know, pain and loss and fear and uncertainty, and this horrible trap that's happening to people, and just my heart goes out to them. And I hate feeling useless. I hate feeling like there's nothing I can do, which is also why I really embraced my spiritual side, because I wasn't useless, and I wasn't just consumed by worry like so many people, particularly like my mom. Is a beautiful, beautiful soul, but just worries so much to the point that it's like a wardrobe. Oh, what worry will I wear today? You know, and I never wanted to be like that. I always wanted to do something, and in spirituality, in energy, in our oneness, I could connect with all of you. I could connect with everyone who was here for this, and felt alone and stuff like that, and make them not feel so alone. We could connect in the dream realm, which was so amazing, and the astral realm, and we could connect with previous incarnations, past, present, future, multidimensional, off-world, and so forth. And that's just so incredible and so beautiful to just build our resilience and lift each other up and nurture each other. Whenever I'm sharing things, I always try to be careful not to like preach to the choir, but to just intuitively, what do they need right now? What do they need to hear that will, help them get by in another day and remember who they are? Like, it feels like the movie The Matrix, where Neo is plugged into the system still, into the Matrix, and Zion is being eaten and destroyed, torn apart by the Sentinels, and Trinity's just screaming at Neo to hurry up, because they're running out of time before everything around them goes. And that's kind of what it feels like, trying to get through to people as quick as possible and awaken them. And at least, we can show all these inconsistencies about Hawaii. Why is Oprah and Jeff Bezos and Julia Roberts and Jim Carrey and Morgan Freeman and these other billionaire houses perfectly intact and everyone else's isn't? Why aren't the trees burned? Why is which is, of course, don't want trees to be burned, but just it clearly shows how man-made this is. And also the streets in Hawaii. All the pictures and videos show that a car is melted to the point, like the metal is melted, which is very similar to September 11, which is very similar to the pictures we've seen of the Middle East, and even further back, like war images, Pearl Harbor, and then even I was sharing photos on my social media about the early 1900s and the attack of old worlds and stuff like that. And yeah, so what I was really frustrated with was this person who was messaged me, and she's like, oh, the White Hats did that in Hawaii. They had to do this to get the reptilians in their underground base. And then she went on to be like, and they chose, all the victims, all the people there chose to do that. And the White Hats decided that they would take out all these people as a way to save many more. But it does not. It really upsets me when I hear that. And then they're all arrested, and I'm just getting, because also I've been in that belief mindset. I know it so well, and I now, of course, see the dangers of thinking like that. But in this case, like, I was like, how can you even think that? Like, I think it was Ishmael who's talking about this. She sent me a video to try to like when you see it, you'll understand, and you'll stop like spreading fear porn and stuff like that. She's trying to tell me, and I was like, wow. I'm like, I think you're the one that needs to see, what's really going on here. But again, very disappointed with a lot of spiritual, like Elena Denan. You're channeling ETs and you're doing amazing work, but then you don't say anything about the Hawaiian fires. You know, that's a bit of a red flag for me. And then also your previous interviews with Sasha Stone, who I've talked a lot about. And if you guys don't know, in my blogs, I've talked about, you know, my personal experience with him in Bali, and that how he's tried to rape me, and that I saw him try to pick up underage kids, and I know that his best friend's a pedophile, and that they protect pedophiles with their program, INTJ or whatever it's called, I don't care. But I can't stand seeing these people like Teal Swan as well. You know that I will expose. I don't care. I will expose. If you are not here for the right reasons, and I know that personally, then and I think that these people who are interviewing them should also do their due diligence and look into these people seriously. Look at their souls if you're gonna, you know, interview them to your audience, introduce them to your audience, and encourage and promote their work when it really what's behind them. So this is a very like raw video today. I'm not really holding back in the way of my emotions or names. I'm name dropping. I don't care. But anyway, if it was actually trying to get rid of the underground bases in Hawaii, like you're trying to tell me, this person was trying to tell me, and Ishmael's trying to convince everybody of, then why is there no underground site at all? Like you think that this then from the white hats would shoot right into the underground, and we would clearly see that there was some big underground base in Maui. But you don't. You just see the houses. You just see the just right to the bottom of the house, and that's it. Like it's not going underneath. And so that is, and then also you would still try to save as many people as possible. You wouldn't allow FEMA to prevent people from getting out of the town. You wouldn't block goods and needs that the people, like just basic groceries and food and whatever, right? We wouldn't be hearing these stories from the locals. So locals wouldn't be asked to be evicted. So everything about this story smells like bullshit to me. And then something like, oh, reptilians hate heat. I'm sorry, reptilians are they're in tropical countries. They're advanced. I don't think they care about the temperature at all. I think they're in that way beyond that. So anyway, see that there were some people that showed up and said hi and left because I don't know, maybe I'm too much today, but I'm sorry. This is me. That's just how I am. Yeah. Hello from the UK. Hi from Canada. How are you guys doing? Are there fires out in your area too? Yeah, these weapons have been abused for ill intentions. They're not human, even though they look like us. Well, they're masters of the hologram, so they can make themselves look like whatever they want, but their true form is being seen by the masses. And in a way, this is making people wake up and ask a lot of questions. Even though they're trying to hammer climate change, force feed it down our throat that this is what it is to justify these actions, it's clearly too precise in its locations of where it's hitting and sparing that just don't add up. So we have soul contracts. Yeah, sorry, Sasha too. Yeah. No, Ishmael did not suggest. He did a video. It was sent to me to watch about how he's saying this is what the white hats did. They were behind Maui, and then how do you explain all the other fires in the world that aren't getting news or coverage? Right? There's so many, and it also really bothers me when I hear a soul chose this, because I know that we chose things to a degree. We chose a challenge. We have a loose script. But to the extent of how awful and the detail, I don't think we know. We are aware of. I really don't. And I've explored this a lot. And also, we have to be careful what we're saying and think, because the cabal also tells their victims and children and sacrifices that this is your purpose, you chose this, you're here for this, you have nothing else you're here to do but this. And that's very dangerous. So if we're on the light side, the so-called right side, and we have to be careful what we're telling people as well. They're choosing, their souls collectively choosing to be sacrifices, because I don't think that's the case. I think that from what I understand with how precious it is to get a body, and how so many are jealous of the body and want the body, as far as in the mind to take over, it's yeah, it's not as simple as we're saying. Like, now, there, when we do lose people, I have said that they are like bridges to the other side that help us to connect more with the other side, because they know how challenging it is for us here. Just like animals are here to help us look after the planet, but they're also here to bring us, you know, a deeper connection with ourselves and with our true nature, love, joy, and things like this, our birthright. Yeah, they're parasites, so they're an inversion perversion of reality. So it's just, it's so anti-life. It's the opposite of everything good and natural. It's the opposite of the ringing cedars of Russia and Anastasia, right? That's why I say live spelled backwards is evil, and devil, or is lived spelled backwards. So really, that's what evil and the devil is: inversion, perversion, reality. So who the heck is left to believe? Elena, Teal, Sasha, Ishmael, etc. I do believe you. I saw that vid by Ishmael. Yes, but we don't feel the pain at death. It's so confusing. I mean, I'm doing the best I can to try to just feel intuitively and look behind. Like, I guess I've really looked at the responsibility behind my words and how it's affecting people. And though I know, like, it's to a degree, I still try to do the best I can. To be aware of these things, maybe because I've done it longer than Elena and Sasha. I've been speaking longer than them. I don't know. Like, I'm just, like I said, doing the best I can, and sharing what I've personally witnessed and experienced. And I'm just really shocked. There's all these other people who are, exposing this everywhere, videos everywhere, trying to share locals information to get out, in all these areas. So I'm more grateful and have more respect for them right now. Like, we just need a lot of discernment, right? And I've made mistakes too. I've said the wrong things, and I feel like I might have led people astray as well. But and I at least will admit it, and I will try to rectify it as best I can, even if it's at my own cost, my own reputation, and contact with my soul family, right? Like, it's just, at the end of the day, it's the right thing to do. And it's not about you. It's not about us. It's not about me. It's about, how do we, since we're here for this, how do we navigate ourselves through this the best way, particularly if you are, put yourself out as a public figure like I have, where a lot of people look up to you. And so you can have a lot of pressure and responsibility of others. And of course, food on my mouth face. That's very typical of me to do live. Yeah. We don't feel the pain at death. No, particularly that kind of death, but there's still a lot of people who do feel pain before death, because they're just suffered and tortured and things like that, like kids and stuff like that for adrenochrome, right? Or it's just people who have horrible pain or suffering before death for whatever it is. If it's an accident and it's not fully, and it's just a painful recovery, or it's a painful transition. So and then the pain stops. Listening to Walk the Dog by Laurel Anderson. Hi, Jessica, tone deaf. Oh, she's, hello. Oh, I got disconnected. I don't know if I lost you guys. If you're still here, I don't know how this works. Last time I went to the washroom just for 3 seconds, and you guys all disappeared, and I couldn't get the video back for the life of me. It was really weird. Yeah, why is music and art culture so lacking for so long? Why can't we have inspiring characters like before? Where are all the fantastic, inspiring, imaginative people? I need that so much. Yeah. Where are the angels? Where's our golden wand? We trade our wings in for a string of pearls, and now the string is all we have left in our dilapidated mansions, right? Like, I do believe we are royalty in disguise. Completely have forgotten that we are this, and even like everyone, even like cleaning ladies, the most lowliest, poorest people with the lowliest jobs, and they don't know their royalty. They don't know how, they forgot their just like those fairy tale stories are always royalty in disguise, right? Or it gets revealed later on. I believe that's a story about humanity. And it's really good to have role models, of course. Since I've put myself out as that, and since I don't know how to be anything else but that, well, I do now, because I have almost like a double life with my job and with you guys, and social media and things like this. Yeah, it's important. It's really important. We need that as a guiding star in life, and I just do my best, and I try to be as honest with you guys as I can. I try to be as honest with myself as I can, and I try not to hide, because I don't think that's really helpful in the way that we need to be able to relate with each other, right? And relating and empathizing and identifying and creates the bridge of understanding. So, and also takes away the illusion of loneliness, right? But however, be careful not to mistake loneliness with being free, right? Because we do this in relationships, and that's a little bit of a tricky thing to watch, because in a way you're never alone, because you always have that many beings around you and guides and all that, but it feels like you're alone, and so you can push people even more so away from you. And we talked about this before in my videos. I know about also you can feel alone while being in a relationship or having a lot of people around you because you don't feel understood. So these are just things I recommend you kind of just meditate on and think about and just ponder a bit more about, because it will open many doors within yourselves of understandings of things that we might be doing to ourselves that's harming ourselves that we're not aware of. We need heroes and characters uplifting and expressing. And you know what? There is a lot of expressive information out there. Let's say, more heroes. The locals of Hawaii, for example, doing everything they can. Like, I saw a video of them building, like, they were standing side by side in the water, passing supplies to locals in need. They were stopped every possible way, so they found another way to give to them and set up kitchens or feed them every time they're shut down or aggressively treated or robbed or whatever. They're not giving up. They're doing everything they can still to get this information of the truth of what's going on out there, even though they're now starting to shoot people who are trying to film the truth out there. Now Oahu is also burning, but it's everybody who's posting this information and trying to get it out as much as possible, just like everyone who posted and shared about the sound of freedom is a hero, right? Everyone who puts themselves out there, and regardless of what happens to them, they're like, that's a hero, right? Like Linkin Park singers, they're heroes. People don't relate when they make profit. I honestly don't care about profit. Have you ever really seen me ask for you guys to like my videos or subscribe or donate. I've never asked, even when I've had a donation buttons, like you guys had to kind of force me to do a donation button because I was like, I'm not doing this for money. I just want to help, kind of a thing. And they're like, well, just put up a donation button. So I was like, all right, whatever. But it's, of course I appreciate it and it's good, but I know people need it as a livelihood, particularly when it's their main livelihood, but still, even when it was my main livelihood, I still couldn't bring myself to do that. I wanted people to do it on their own if they felt, too. I don't know. I always forget that, and I don't know. It's just not that important to me. And yeah, it's just, my message is like little messages in the wind to your guys' souls, and I know you guys will spread it, and it will reach, telepathically other ways and all of that. So, yeah. How do you know 28 million live in inner Earth? Or wait, did you know 28 million live in the inner Earth? Yeah, I did know. I didn't know the number, but I knew it was a big number. I think I've talked about it before. Oh gosh, let's see. I gotta go back here. You're doing well, Jess. Love. You can't carry it all on your shoulders. Yeah, I'm trying not to do that anymore. Like I said, I'm really happy to see others. I was really happy to see Oprah's video of her trying to look like she cares about Hawaii, and giving someone a pillow. Well, everybody calling her out on all of her comments about what a hypocrite she is and how come she doesn't let people stay in her mansion or bring in cruise ships or hotels. Like, why don't you let everybody stay in their mansions? Right? Why, just, it's making them very obvious of their crimes, which is really what we need right now. We need people to just completely distrust these people, to not rely on their help at all, to realize they caused this, problem, reaction, solution, basically. Too much manipulative greed suffocated what we had before. Yeah, that's true. Hi, Doug. 1.55 million in Telos. It's just numbers, right? It's just like how many gods you have around you right now. It just depends on many things. Doesn't mean, if I say 10, that doesn't mean that's how many you have. You could have way more than that. But it's just what is allowing you will be aware of at this moment, right? So I've never been so, I don't know, attached to a number figure like this 1.5 million, 28 million, whatever. It's a lot. And that's enough. That's all I need to understand. Yeah, and they are wanting to connect with us, just waiting for the right time to connect with us, but just like how we have to do our inner work and connect with the inside of ourselves, so then, collectively, so then will we be able to do the same thing with the inner earth, if that's what you feel like talking about right now. But I have my heart's on other things that I want to bring up. You can see you're an honest and pure soul. Thank you for exposure. Only trust your own intuition. And even that I've had to be careful with as well too, because I found that at times I could be gaslighted into thinking that was my intuition, or my intuition was steering me wrong and doubting that. So it's just, there's so many layers of this inner work to do. And I'm never going to refer to it as shadow work because I can't stand that. That reminds me of Teal Swan, and it's not really shadow work. It's more so understanding how we get manipulated by others and how we manipulate ourselves. I prefer to put it that way. Or why we like to trap ourselves or aren't interested in our blind spots. Thank you. I just can't read today. I can't even say your names. It's embarrassing if I try to read it. I was butchering everything. Preliminal. I'm sorry. It's wrong. I remember the first video I saw you about more than a decade ago. I forgot you were talking, but not the resonance with what you were talking about. Gratitude. Oh, okay, must have been one of those other videos with this other life in Bali and Portugal that I had. Yeah, tell it like it is. Trying. Oprah's in the club. Of course she is. Of course. I just want information everywhere. I want people like I'm hearing people talk about it who aren't awake, that are awakening up. So if this is a catalyst to really wake people up, it's really just about, like I said before, how bad does it have to be before we start waking up? Like what's the line? Where is that drawn? It doesn't seem to be with sexualizing kids. I've been thinking about relationships a lot since I became alone. It's hard to find balance now. The benefits of solitude versus a healthy relationship. I'm lonely, but I feel I grow. There's a lot more to that, Michael. You just keep exploring that deeper, because a lot of what my spiritual work came from was when I was single. And I wasn't even thinking about relationships at all, or lonely at all. I was having this amazing relationship with myself and with spirit, and I was creating all these things, and all these messages were coming to me, and I was just oblivious of so many things about being, I guess, what it means to be human and physical. And just so when I did get into a relationship, I called it a vacation to being human. I was like, I'm gonna take a vacation of being human for a little bit, just to kind of explore and try to understand, relationships. Which of course wasn't a real relationship; it was a situationship. But that was the only way I could look at it, because I was so immersed in my world and my relationship and with myself. And then of course, when that situationship happened, they're a toxic person. And then, it just started to really throw me quite a lot, and even reroute me. And so, yeah, but I mean, it brought me full circle. It brought me to where I am now. So, and we're, like I said, talking about collecting experiences here, right? I love the colors. You mean the greens and the blues? Yeah, at first I was gonna wear yellow, but then I was like, no, I don't want to wear yellow with the fires right now. This is my room. I love murals, so I have like forest murals everywhere. And I have my room green, like it's like a green apple kind of. Sometimes it looks like a 70s green, but I don't care. I love it. And then, yeah, I just want to wear green. Green is a cheer up color for me. So, the humble voice of conscious is like a radio station of the heart. One has to tune into it in order to hear the act on it. That's beautiful. That's very poetic. I love that. You should also be doing lives and sharing your wisdom. I think all you guys should be doing lives and trying to reach as many people as possible too. Wisdom is a key and foundation in critical thinking. Absolutely. Frel im no. Oh, even I still can't. Even if it's broken up, it's like me in class today. I just could not do my kicks properly for the life of me. I just kept getting everything really messed up and dyslexic. What is this? It's Blossom that's poking me in the back here. Blossom wants to say hello. And Papichi, I know. But Peachy's a woman now, so she's struggling and confused with that. I know you love me. I know I love you too. I love you too. I felt you poking me. Acknowledge me. Okay, Lickathon. One sec. You sent me a DM via Facebook with my Ja name. Okay, I will find your private message later on. What's this? Why has this one been taken out? I can't. Okay, they retracted their message. Okay. Lonely for so long, I stopped looking. And you just stop looking, you have that connection with yourself, and if it's meant to happen, it will happen, basically. Excuse me? Why is there dog politics happening right now? I don't want to hear this. You know what it said? Someone's upset someone stepped on someone? Okay, you take your side, I take their side. Papichi. You sad? Man! Okay. I have so little gardening to do. I was about to go outside before this notification came in. I'll stream later. Peace, love, and laughter. Yeah, I mean, it's so little. I said you said you actually said so much, but I said so little because that's how dyslexic I am. And when I'm very emotional, I get very dyslexic, and just everything comes out. And I was aware of that when I did when I was going to do live today, which I was hesitant about, and that's why I tried to delay it. And also because I was suddenly very tired because I'm not sleeping as much as I should in this moment. But yeah, we also did a lot of harvesting of our garden. Mom was very sad about a lot of it not working on the stuff that they're spraying. Apparently the stuff that they're spraying is adding towards high heat for if they do direct these dew weapons that they burn like extra quick, extra fast, and extra hot. So I hope your garden does as well and you get a lot of things from it and you're protected. Solitude and time with nature is essential. Situationship. Yeah, absolutely. And situationship, that's not mine. My friend called it that. I don't know where they got it from, but I can't take credit for it. Focused on spirit and creativity. Yeah, it was a beautiful time in my life. Definitely one of my highlights. Yeah, green's my favorite color. That's my eye color. Anyway, it's hard right now for me to just even enjoy anything. Like, I feel bad to just go and paddleboard right now. I feel bad to go to class. I feel, or to just enjoy anything because it's so many people have just lost so many things, and it's just. It feels just more like this is a time of like mourning and reflecting than doing anything. And I mean, it's also supposed to be summer, but it's not that nice of weather. It's quite cold today too. But that didn't stop me from, enjoying the water and things like that. And I think I talked about the bioluminescence in the water in Point Roberts, the States. It's a fun way to think about relationship, taking a vacation into one. I guess I have to wait for a vacation for some time now. Then, well, wait, yeah, absolutely wait. Wait for the right one. Don't just kind of go into one. I was kind of forced into it. I went into the stories about that in my blog. I don't really want to go into it here. But yeah, make sure that like you remain the observer and you don't lose your connection to your spirit in the process, which can happen for a bit, but then it will come back. Don't worry, doggies. Yeah. I have to learn how to live stream. I'm still bad at it. Like the original video that I'm supposed to be live on I'm not live on. It looks like I'm late on, but then I just go live on my phone because my computer does not. It lets me change the times I can do lives and to decide when I'm gonna do. Phone will let me do a live, but it won't let me change the time or set a new live unless I'm doing it like right now, which I try to give you guys notice. I try not to just go and do it. Thank you. Those are my babies, Blossom and Peaches. Yeah. I haven't had pets since 2001. I miss my cats. I have 4 cats as well. They're all out today. But I've shown my cats before in videos. They visit on quite a few on occasion, particularly the orange one. Traveling through time. Traveling through time. Ooh, I love that name. Totally agreed. Inner knowing and communicating with myself and soul family. Spirit has been going to another level since I decided to be single 4 years ago. We used to have boxer dogs. Hang on a second, I just want to go back to your comment again. Inner knowing myself and soul family. Spirit has been going to another. Yeah, so that's what happens when you're single, right? Your spirit just goes to another level. Boxer dogs are wonderful. I love them. I love all dogs. That's why my side gig is also cutting dogs' hair. I just love that idea of doing something completely different from computers and all that. Love energy to everyone. Life is profound good, and this is a lower plane. Take courage, keep imagination, and all wisdom you find. I'm more of a cat person. I'm a cat and dog person and all animals. I just love them all. There's so much you can learn from all of them. But if I had to say choose, definitely I'm a cat person because I chose cats and my mom chose dogs. So, and I have 4. I know it is bad, but haven't we all agreed to this time, to our awakening? All is well from source perspective. We have been hammered here in New Zealand too. Cyclones, death, homes lost, land grabs, jabs. In New Zealand, are there fires out there too? Certain places burning and others not. I hear it's really, really rough in New Zealand. You got a really evil, evil woman in charge there. I think we know that we're going to be awakening right now. We know that this is a graduation right now. Again, we agreed to the challenge and we agreed to assist with the death of an old world and the birth of a new one, but we didn't know to what extent and how bad or hard it would be. Particularly like it's expectations versus reality. As a spirit, it's easy, it looks easy and because you're not in a physical form and you're not in the amnesia veil. So they have an idea. They don't really know what it's like until we're actually here, which is why, again, they're in awe of us of being, so brave to be here at this time. I am wearing a jacket, yes. It's cold here. Yes, that's a really... This last comment, I don't know how you did your name like that, which is really neat. I can't read it. And I like how you just share your message in emojis. No fires, too bad yet, but yes, we had floods, many displaced. I was so close to being evacuated. Prayed and called on the powers to stop it coming. And it obviously worked because you're still in your home. You still have your garden, right? And I think, prayer is good to a degree, but prayer should also be met by action. Prayer should also be met by the realization that we are the answer to our prayers. I feel that, if people pray for peace all the time, but if that was enough, it would have happened by now, would have come to be. There is also this part that is action too. They have to be together. I don't like to see them separated or just pray. That's all we can do, because energetically we can do a lot. We can speak to people, and I always like to speak to people who, even if they're the ones that are sleeping, in the way that I like to speak to the part of them that knows what's going on here, right? And knows, that the person playing the character, not the character. Apparently everything's 16. What Bashar said. I'm a little skeptical about Bashar as well. What did Bashar say about this? Everything changed in 216. You gotta elaborate a bit more for me. Talk a bit about Anastasia. I would love to hear your views now. I actually did earlier on today. Actually, what I was trying to say about that is that right now I still don't have a kin's domain, even though I've known about these books for some 20 years now. And I think in a way that it's a good thing, because if I was off the grid fully, growing my own stuff and not on social media at all, then I couldn't help or be aware of spreading in this way all this information that needs to really be out. So because you would just be weaning yourself off of it. And I think that's a later phase in life, after we get rid of this darkness, after we expose this, then we rebuild the earth and we connect with our nature and have our own space of land. But what good is it because I know several people who built their kin's domain out in Kelowna and in Alberta and other places in the world that are now burning, and even Hawaii. So they just direct their energy on us, that we go out there and they just get uninhabitable and unlivable, then buy up our land at a fraction of the cost, and then force us in the cities. So you see, it always will be it will be in the way. They'll constantly keep making problems. They won't let us live our life however much we try, until we expose and stop them. possible way for us to continue to live, with them continuing to constantly mess up and interfere everything all the time. So, what would you like me to say about Anastasia? I'd absolutely like to hear her thoughts right now about what she thinks where we are at in the dark window of time and carrying us across, and what she thinks about what's going on in the world right now, and her message to humanity on that. I'm trying to connect with her and see if I can get any information. I will let you know if I manage to. I'm also seeing if the Ringing Cedars of North America community is able to reach Vladimir. I know they're in touch with him, so we'll see also what they say or he says, and get what and in turn what Anastasia says. I know this sounds funny. I was in a reality where New Zealand was undivided and located mid-north above Australia before 2016. I transferred from Sagittarius R into this parallel Earth in Orion. Well, we're soul family, and this, we understand each other in this way. We all know that we're starseeds here. It's Sanskrit, Mohana Diva. Beautiful. I have no words, so emojis. Why not? Yeah. We speak in memes, we can speak in emojis. Planting seeds, we can plant seeds, and I think like through social media, we're planting seeds by, waking up as many people as possible, because that's what people have a diet of. That's what they're looking at all the time, right? So we plant seeds to crack, wherever you can find the cracks, plant seeds in hopes that it will grow and burst forth and give people realizations about the kind of world that we're living in. Alex Collier, I was looking at recently as well, who I found when I was 16, one of the many that was brought to me at such a young age. He was talking and saying that, we have to not jump in steps. The first thing we need to do collectively as a humanity, when you wake up humanity, is they need to understand what reality actually is, and who they actually are, and what they're actually capable of, what's actually, in order to know what's going on, and before we can do anything about it, before we can address the problem at the root, so this never happens again. He was a lot about, he has a video recently about predictions for next year, and it was not bleak, it was more about how we can prevent this from ever happening again, which I thought was fantastic. I just gave a guitar to my girlfriend, a Fender. No, she liked it. Appreciate the Anastasia book series. I'm on book 2 right now. Glad to hear that. And if the PDFs are not working, send me a PM. I have them all downloaded, and I can send you those as well if you prefer to also have a digital copy. And that reminds me, since all my plans have been canceled this week, since I was actually supposed to go out towards the Kelowna area this weekend. My friends were just there last weekend, and my other friend has a Kins domain. Okay, even though the roads are quite jammed. I forgot what I was gonna say. Gosh, sorry. Something about the. Yeah, I was gonna be out there this weekend. Now I don't have any plans this weekend. So that's also why I'm like, I'll do a live, and just kind of express what's going on in my heart right now, and connect with you guys, and yeah. What's your one biggest hint to calm yourself and get into the theta state, meditation, and so on? Play and connect with your inner child. So if I wanted to do that, connect with in my theta, I would start to daydream. I would start to climb a tree. I would start to tell myself, okay, if it just starts very simple. It just starts like, okay, if a tree can talk, what would a tree say? So I would just imagine what I think a tree would say. Same with your guides, or what any, if you, my guides, what would my guides say right now? What would Anastasia say right now? And then what happens is the more you do that, or you write down, like, I'm struggling with something right now. What would my future self say about to me about this situation right now? And then at first it's you, and then it doesn't take too long before suddenly other aspects of yourself start speaking, because it is you as well, but it's just these other parts of ourselves in space and time that start to contribute as well. It's a way to embrace that wholeness, and then that is where the theta, the twilight zone happens, where you have all these amazing experiences. However, you don't always get your memories for it, so it depends. You'll have to then see if you can. I call them the council of memories, or sometimes the memory gnomes, who decide what you get to remember and what you don't, and why that is, what the decision behind that is, and if you can negotiate with them, because sometimes you can. So yeah, there's a few layers to it, but I mean, the first thing is, like, playing is huge, like a child, because that is where you are limitless, and you're able to just get this fresh perspective. You're seeing everything for the first time. When we're not in that state, then we're taking things for granted, and we're missing a lot of things. So I always try to remind myself of that, or with animals as well too, trying to see how animals see the world, or and how spirit sees us. And yeah, you'll be able to get there pretty easy from there. Multiverse phenomena is real. I think I died in 2016, and now I'm in a different version of Earth. It's funny, I've been watching the show recently, Sliders. Do you remember this show from 1995? I think it was done in Vancouver. But it's all about going to different parallel worlds. Same Earth, but it's parallel, so it's a multiverse of, like, something is slightly different in each world, and oh gosh, I only recently started watching it, and they already have an episode where a virus has taken over the world. It's a scenario. What if a virus and everybody is sick and they're scared of the world's in a pandemic and all that. They're always telling you shit like this in these shows, but yeah, or Quantum Leap as well, which I talked about last time I'm watching. So it's very likely. It's very likely. Like I had a dream one time, that's probably not a dream, of a world where my dad didn't pass away, and I remember it so well, and I saw him there on in the couch, on the couch, and talking with us and everything, and I could talk to him about anything, except that he's actually, not alive in my world. And he could not hear that, and I just remember, like, it was so weird. Like, I crossed over into this other world where he was alive, and yeah, and it was just fascinating that they couldn't hear that particular information about everything else. So I don't doubt it at all. I think it's very, very likely. That's why I feel like it's almost like all these timelines are, like, imploding on themselves, and this, again, what happens here affects all the other, call it ET worlds for lack of a better term, but because it affects them. It's like a ripple. It'll affect them, so they're, invested in trying to help as best they can. But they still, like, every time I connect in, I know that it's like we've won, and it's okay. Like, even though, of course, we get emotional while we're in the movie and all of that, or because it's again, easier said than done, particularly when you're in the heat of it, and it feels really real, like that dream, or a lucid dream, right? Or VR now. So it's all like, basically we just gotta let things play out. What's gonna happen is going to happen, and it's going to seem scary, and we're going to get emotional, and we're going to feel for others, and that's healthy, that's human. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think we should. It is a bit of a grieving and mourning of all this unjust going on in the world, that is that alchemical process to push us to this level where we actually have real change, to the point where this never happens again. My buddy told me his dog could bring a ball from miles away. Sounds pretty far-fetched. Ah, I see, you're making jokes. Okay, well, it's nice to lighten the mood. Your friend just started the Ringing Cedars. I'm glad to hear that, Rachel. Rachel and I have been in contact for quite some time. Yes, it worked. I believe in my power. Yes, actions speak louder than words. I speak up all right and act, and got kicked out of my boarding situation. Oh, that's great. That's good news. Nice. Geography isn't the same here in parts of history. I'm walking around with great curiosity about what happened to me. Oh, you should absolutely watch Sliders. Watch Sliders and let me know your thoughts. Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for tuning in on my live and my emotional vomit. Where is Anastasia now? What happened to their child? Well, Anastasia is still in the Taiga. However, she's very multidimensional, and she travels probably to different timelines frequently. We know her son is somewhere in a town with a wife, and probably has kids of his own by now. We don't know where. That's been kept private for their own reasons, which totally makes sense, because they don't want to be bugged. We know that the daughter is also in the Taiga with Anastasia, and also looking after the animals for the brother, because he really wanted to go off and live in town and find a wife and all of that, but he needed someone to look after all of his animals, so he asked Anastasia and Vladimir to make another child for that reason. So that's where they are right now. I feel the same way about 2016, like it's a different world now. I think it's been changing so many times, like that's why the past, we can't think of it in a linear way, just like a dream, because if you try to think of it in a linear way, you're not going to remember, right? But you have to realize that it's non-linear, past, present, and future all existing simultaneously. And the past could be the future, and the future is the past. I wouldn't be surprised at all. That's what I keep getting anyway. Anastasia, yeah, she's working and working now and relax later. So that's what I believe, like, we're supposed to be doing. We're not supposed to be at relaxing and buying land and gardening, fully on our land, and disconnecting from the grid just yet. We need it. We have to use those tools to take them down, right? Anastasia is not one to just like sit around and just meditate and pray and wish the best on people. Anastasia works very hard also in the astral realm and the dream realm, and works very fast as well, to preserve thought. That's the most important thing to her, is preserving thought, not to let it be disrupted. That's also for like her child raising, is like, don't have these artificial toys or things to given to the children. Let them continue to connect with nature, and let them come to you when they're ready, when they're done their thoughts. Don't interrupt their thought process, because she's trying to make it as fast as possible, which will make it, the faster the thinking, the more you can maintain your connection to spirit, and also your power of who you are. And that lies the power. When you get into the later books, so for those of you who are just starting and in the early books, she talks a lot about visions and how they have been used to control the world. Pictures and stories, and how the evil ones have also done that. They have a picture and image of the world, a counterfeit future that's been forced down our throat that I've talked about before in previous videos about dystopian future that they're trying to make us think is just, we've seen it a lot as fiction. We've, Orwellian books, like what do we have of visuals of the future from media, mainstream media, aside from the Jetsons, that's kind of positive, right? Or like Idiocracy, where they show us being so advanced. We think we're going to be really advanced, but then we turn out to be just the opposite. Like maybe you're technologically advanced, but it works against you, or machines rebel against you, or AI rebels against you, and so forth, right? And disasters happen, and we all have to start from scratch, and it's just complete anarchy and horrible. And so that is a vision that is a result of a lot of collective evil, speeding up their thoughts faster than others to manipulate time. I'm absolutely certain they've manipulated the past as well to ensure that they lock us into this particular future timeline that they're trying so hard to do, which won't work. And so that is the speeding of thought. So Anastasia is probably also working with her daughter and even her son to make their thoughts faster, to overrule their plans. That's my understanding of us carrying what she means by carrying us across the dark window of time, and how that works, because she just says it, but to understand how it works is to really understand what she's saying in the books, and also what I get when I connect with her. So a lot of you are finding the world's changed a lot since 2016. I mean, I've seen it change. It's been, who knows how many times it's been altered, the timelines, right? And near-death experiences resonates too. Well, near-death experiences are extremely important. They're to help people have a newfound look on life, appreciation of being in a fleshy form, and to have a view of the other side to see, how amazing it is to be here at this time and how loved we are on the other side. And it's just a sneak peek that there's nothing to fear. The transition is not anything to be scared of, even though we have so many issues in the world, and because of the fear of dying and being forgotten and the transition, and just having to deal with our mortality, even though we're meant to live a lot longer. And with what Anastasia is sharing too, how we can connect with our ancestors and things like that via the dolmens, and how it's never really gone, and that she remembers all of that, and she shows us how to remember that as well. We can probably channel anything and everything. Anastasia does. So you remember Sliders, Rachel, eh? Yeah. Wow, Jess, what's wow? What did I say? I don't even know. I've just kind of flowed. You can tell when my mind's not as distracted. I haven't had any deja vu since 2015. I used to have it frequently, about 4 times a year. Yeah, same with some people in their life where they haven't been able to remember their dreams. Like they could remember their dreams till this year, this age, and then they stopped, and it doesn't happen again since. Or they could be lucid, or they remembered being on ships several times, and they could call on ships, and now they can't anymore because maybe one reason or another. Some people have shared with me. I saw this one. I saw the judge and accuser as divine in court. I could not defend myself against divinity, so I got a long prison sentence. It's interesting you talk about the court. I also feel like, well, even particularly with certain relationships I've been in, situationships, it felt like a court situation in that I was constantly defending humanity, where this other side wanted to say that they're guilty and they don't deserve to live. We need to exterminate them all, and I was constantly trying to show the court why this wasn't true, and how things have gotten twisted and so forth, particularly with Diego, but also Gus, and uh, and then I also found that other times too, in just dreams, that a lot of my dreams were just courts about humanity and the future of humanity and what should be done about them. And I mean, I was like, can't you see that that we're being framed, like just like with this climate change, that it's not climate change, that they're trying to make it look like that, to make us think that, to blame us and to justify their actions, right? So I mean, of course, the court system is completely like bullshit and faulted to a core, but it's what we have to work with. So again, it's like social media, it's a double-edged sword, and we're being censored. I've been censored so much lately, good grief. But I still, and so many others, particularly because of the people I'm sharing or sharing the truth, but that tells you that that's how you know it's the truth that you're sharing. And just to keep doing it, you know, you're on the right track. And using that system to destroy itself. That's what I'm really about right now. Flat Earth real? I honestly don't care. I wouldn't be surprised if it's flat or if it's... I think it's just a hologram, so it's depending on what the collective views it as right now. It's also hollow, right? So it's all these things. Are other worlds flat? You know, you could look at it then like a petri dish. Earth is a petri dish, and then all these other worlds are other petri dishes side by side, all around us on a table, that are able to somehow interact or come in and out of our worlds, right? It's a multiverse, so it's a bit tricky to understand with the collective perspective of a hologram. So I just feel like a lot of times it's a distraction, the Hollow Earth. It doesn't really change much for me as far as like if it is, and so I'm still trying to, you know, we're all still trying to do our best to live our life. Yeah, the government's lied about everything, so of course they could lie about that too, wouldn't be surprised. But I don't like how every time a freedom gathering happens that they're discredited by, they always say QAnon and flat earth. So I mean, maybe there are a lot of BS in QAnon with the white hats and everybody in Guantanamo Bay arrested, all these leaders and so forth and hung. But there is also some value in it too. So I'm not completely throwing out the baby with the bathwater, but I don't care about it as much. It's not so important to me as other things, you know? Because what does it do for the long run? Does it help wake up people? Can you communicate with people about that without them like feeling like you're crazy? As opposed to, it's much easier to show them something like the obvious crimes with Hawaii, and that all the celebrities' houses are just fine, and trees are fine, and the road is fine, and just these particular pennies on the dollar. Optimal timeline, imploding timelines. So you've probably heard me say this, but I say it always pretty fast. I'm not sure if anyone has been able to memorize it yet, but every single lifetime we lived has prepared us for this lifetime in which we're living every single lifetime in this one simultaneously. Got it? It's amazing how I could even say that with being so dyslexic, and I don't confuse that one ever, but I confuse everything else, even when I'm reading in front of my face, even just people's names on here. It's horrible. It's weird. Not horrible, more just weird. It's been crazy lately, very crazy. This video has mostly been about the fires happening all over the world, particularly here in BC. You don't believe in the flat earth, but maybe for some people it's real. Like I said, it might be real, it might be true, but I don't really care because there's more important things that are pressing to care about right now, like waking up the planet and getting our life and freedoms back, and getting rid of these assholes once and for all, and actually starting our real life, what we're meant to be doing here, rebuilding the earth freeing all life forms and animals and not having them suffer on all these levels, that how we're making everything suffer right now. Not on purpose, but because we're forced to, because of these evil ones that are controlling everything. Yeah, Canada's on fire. Alberta's on fire. Northwest Territories is on fire. I'm in BC. BC is on fire up north in west in Kelowna, where I just was a few weeks ago or a few months ago. In my Alberta trip, the one place I stopped happens to be the place that's in flames. I'm very worried about the kangaroo farm, and I'm very sad for all the people losing everything right now and being directed into a trap at FEMA camps and stuff like that. Also very upset that Air Canada is charging $5,000 a ticket just to get out of their area. I'm also very upset about the people's houses who are intact in Hawaii are being forced to be evicted from their homes, but they of course have to pay rent in the meantime, because whatever stupid reason that the cabal has to have them leave, and they're just really sad because they can live in their home, but they're not allowed to now for whatever reason. They're just being forced out, and it's sad if you don't listen; they'll just blast it. So you can't tell me that's the white hats. Well, not just Canada though. The whole world. Africa's on fire. India's on fire, South America's on fire, Central America's on fire, the US is on fire, Europe's on fire, the Middle East is on fire, everywhere's on fire right now. Emotionality without intelligence is a disaster. They must be married, they must be hand in hand, we must never choose one over the other, right? You're not just your heart, you're not just your head. You should never choose both. You should never choose one over the other, because you are both. So you are not just your left hand, you're not just your right hand, you're both of them. You need to work with both of them, right? You can't wait for the world to be perfect. You've got to work with what you got. We're not waiting for it to be perfect, but we're definitely working with what we got, but we have to also, no matter what we do, we're constantly being, our lives are being interrupted by this bullcrap. I also saw that they're planning on bringing back all COVID mandates for the world. Particularly again, starting in airlines, it's going to be you have to wear masks again. It's mandatory. Vaccines again is mandatory. PCR tests are mandatory. Come September and October. So I'm curious if people are going to allow this yet again. So that's what I'm saying. We're trying to live our lives. People are trying to move on. And then they're still pushing all this crap and fires and all these things going on that make it okay, no, this is a problem. You can't keep trying to live your life and forget about do your best when they're not allowing that. You have to first we have to first stop what we're doing, everyone, and just deal with these people or beings or whatever they are. I'm mad. But almost sweared. I think I swear in the previous video. Not that, okay. Do you see or believe we will shift into a new earth? Yes, that's what we're here to do. Yes, Dolores Cannon, yeah, absolutely. I think we are now choosing, hence the battle. So we win, all is okay, yes, hard love is the only way. We're choosing, I think it's already been chosen and decided. It's just playing out right now. For some people, it's need a bit more, I guess, they need it to be worse before they can see what's going on, right? Before they can actually wake up and do something about it, right? It feels a little bit like it's, I don't want to think that it's too late for people. I just refuse to believe that. I have a faith in people till the end, because I know there's parts of them that know what's going on, and I know their psychology of what it feels like to be asleep. I remember it, and I've identified and empathized a lot with them to kind of, and worked a lot to see how they think and why they think the way they do. And it's also just very sad, they're a victim of hundreds of years of programming, and their parents have been programmed, their parents' parents have been programmed, so I'm just trying to work with them to see even though it's hard to see the truth, the responsibility and the change that comes with it is not easy. Even just trying to talk with this friend that we were going to meet up with, and they're very much aware of the medical mandate BS and aren't for that at all. But then when I told them about what's happening with the fires, and they had a hard time at first, but I said, look, Matt, remember how difficult it was to see about the medical mandates? I'm sure it was difficult for you to admit that to yourself was going on. But then something happened where you did, and you're better off because you did, because you're able to avoid these things and not fall for this, and stay strong. And it's the same way what you need to do here, like awakening to many things going on. Like, why did Biden give such a small amount to Hawaii and double to Ukraine? Right? Everyone's just dumping money into Ukraine. Canada's dumping money to Ukraine, and all of that. It's just BS, basically. So yes, there will be a new Earth, but again, that's what we're here to do. We're not here to just like pray and wish and hope it to happen, wait for someone else to do it. We have a part to play in it. It's an interactive movie. So yes, it's a movie, but we are also writing and deciding how we want the movie to go, how intensely we want it to go, how dramatic we want it to be, how much of a close call we want it to be, right? So that's why I get really annoyed when I hear stuff like, oh, just pray and just wish and meditate, and it's not enough. A monk who lives in a cave and meditates their entire life, they know nothing of the world. They don't know how to live in the world if you're meditating all the time. So it's... And Anastasia is maybe an exception because she does that, but she's just in a different category altogether. And I, of course, have way more respect for her than any monk anyway, because they're just following rigid ideologies, and they still don't really understand the world to the degree that she does. And she's actually doing things in the astral realm, which I don't think the monks are. They're just kind of hypothesizing and spinning in circles of thoughts and trying to understand. And then there's watching and living are two different things. So can you meditate 24/7? No, you can't. You have to live your life sooner or later. And then when you're trying to live your life, you have all this interference and crap happen, right? So that's why it's like, okay, how do I, like, we can't keep going on and trying to live our life as if everything's fine when it's not. There's this massive elephant in the room we have to address if we want to move forward and function. Well, that's awkward. Imagine asking your parents for a sibling. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what happens in the book. If you read it, you'll see. Retro casualty. Interesting. Retro casualty. Idiocracy. Classic. Yes. I referred to this movie a few times. Bicentennial Man. That's another one. There's so many. Dark City, The Labyrinth, The Never-Ending Story. There's more, but I can't think in this moment. Even The Gods Must Be Crazy, my favorite film. Hi, Weefree. I had her dream visit me. It's crazy how her energy works beyond comprehension. And I was doubting her as I was reading her book, then boom. Yeah, I think that's the case for a lot of people. Like, there's always like this doubt and skepticism at first in reading the book, and then when she greets you, and you feel her so strongly, and then suddenly you find yourself like this burst of creativity, be it poetry or whatever, you know, it's like, it's just this, I won't say undeniable, but it'd be like this, suddenly this reunion of your true self, you know, and she's just a catalyst for that. And she just does it so beautifully. It's amazing at just giving the merit back to being human, you know, nothing extraordinary, if you will, like how, you know, she's not an ET, she's not a goddess, she's not, you know, an angel, she's human, she's what you guys were supposed to be had you not lost your connection to nature. Also, near life experience. Ooh, yes. I'm sure that happens a lot as well, of the near life experience where you get to see and co create a new life for yourself and what it will look like. And, you know, death and rebirth, or end and beginning, it reminds me of that quote, we never die and we're never born, right? We're just like dream within a dream, you know, playing out different scenarios and probabilities of, to understand the ramifications of our creations, what it means to be a creator in training. Stream is buffering for me. Oh no, I hope it came back. I heard that, I saw it came off, I came offline for a little bit as well. Court monsters. Oh yeah, yeah, Climate Gate. I like you guys just play on words. Just makes me think of poetry and cheers me up. I love poetry. Strange Tale 178. Adam Warlock is in court in a place called the Counter Earth. One of my favorite allegoric comics, illustrated by Jim Starling. I don't even know that. I didn't even know that one. That sounds pretty neat, though. That sounds like definitely something I'd enjoy. It happened for me. What Dolores said came true. Of course. I mean, not surprised at all. I've done sessions with people who've studied under Dolores, and it's pretty neat. I recommend it if you can find a, what is it, QHT practitioner. They're all over the world. So it's like 5 or 6 hours long, and it's incredible. I always use, now I've got a lot of my friends, I brought a lot of my friends to them. So I'm always like, with your questions, because you can ask like 20 questions or however many you want, right? I'm like, make sure that it's not boring. I always say, I'm like, make sure it's not just like these basic questions, but like, make sure you ask about not just past lives, but future lives, multidimensional lives, and lives in between lives, you know, and like, try to be very creative with your questions. If you want to know if your life is a plant, ask about that. If you want to know about like a particular life in the past where we were spiritually, psychically advanced, asked to be shown that. So my friends all know I'm likely to tell them that before their sessions with this lady. Middle Earth aliens, allies as well. Aliens could actually be interterrestrial, right? A lot of the spaceships or beam ships that we see could actually not be from outer space, or other planets, but actually from inside the planet, like we were talking about earlier. Why is it lagging sometimes? Is it just me, or does it happen with everyone else too? Oh man, I don't know. Maybe it's interference on YouTube's part, or because I'm saying things that could get me in trouble, or censoring. You know, Canada's censoring's really buckled down intensively lately. But it could also be my internet is shite, and maybe a lot of people's internet is shite because of the fires. Everything's being affected. Having weird weather today too. The pendulum seems to be going to the right side of politics, but I think we mustn't jump on the other side of the duality. I think we're here to bring balance in ourselves. It's all about balance. Everything's about balance. And that's a huge job, right? So, and it's a lot of work, but it must be done. And that's a lot of like self-observation that we need to do. I find it interesting that monks don't understand exactly how they work and their patterns, particularly when they go and live in the real world. Why is this message held for review? Your message can be here, fucking do. Absolutely. My last thought tonight is soon 20. Oh, okay, it's really late. Sorry. Do you have anything to say about Billy Edward? Albert Meyer, the author and contactee with the Plagiarian folk since the 1950s. Briefly, if you heard of him. Yes, I know about Billy Meyer. I've known about him since I was very young. I was apparently named after Simyasi or Simjesi. When my mom was pregnant with me, some being came to my dad and said, "You have to name her." after her, or after me. Um, and so they did. And I have a lot of parallels with her. And then when I was 16, she got in contact again with me through my dad and my sister, who recently passed. And I share a lot of this in my other interviews and videos, but she's one of my guides, let's say, for lack of a better term. She likes to refer more to as family, something as family, but I'm pretty sure she's a facet of me some way. We just have a lot of affinities and parallels, and yes. She's also the one that told me things like she doesn't like to refer, when I refer to her ship as a spaceship, she prefers beam ship. And also when I've told you guys like, oh wow, you're so advanced, you have this beam ship, and we don't. And she's like, yeah, we're so advanced, we need it though, you are that, you are a beam ship. So that all came from her when I share certain things. I don't like to kind of name names when it comes to guides and everything, because I don't like to give this sort of speciality or merit or politics that can come from it, even comparison from others. We all have our different connections to different things for reasons, but it's quite a personal thing for me too. But I don't know, I'm no stranger to sharing personal things about myself all the time, even embarrassing things. I just, yeah. So yeah, there I am. I'm sharing that here. And I'm just trying to think if there's other aspects to this as well that I want to go into or not, that I can remember. There are future versions of herself. I've shared that. She's shared that with me as well. I be careful what I say though to a censorship, and they're also very associated with oh man, Germans and Akakor. Do you guys know what Akakor is? Akakor is a place found in South America where a bunch of white people were found living amongst the natives, and they had ships and they were flying in and out, and they're also very closely connected to the inner earth and the blue people inside the planet. And yeah, some people were wanting to talk about inner earth before. They probably went to bed now, but now it's coming out, I guess, full circle. Yeah. And it's no coincidence that all the Western provinces are the ones getting hit, I don't think. Real Canadian rage, yeah. But it's very, very, very heartbreaking right now. And like I said, I live in BC, and I'm close to the water, and I'm just it's nerve-wracking. It's been bated breath about basically what's going to happen next, and just knowing to be in my intuition to know what to do, when to do, and definitely not do what the mainstream is telling us to do and where to go, as I know that they're going to try to herd us into a trap by taking everything and making us dependent off of them and the system. But yeah, it's but it's not just Canada. It's also states. It's Europe, it's Africa, it's India, it's South America, it's the Middle East. It's everywhere. Everywhere. And it's the same stuff as been used everywhere, because it's particularly with September 11th, because it's melted metal. Jessica, remember I told you about the design? It's a rising phoenix. But that's also the Cabal sign too. They want to look at it like, oh, out of the ashes, literal ashes apparently, we will build back better, right? We will build our smart cities and whatever we want, however we want, and you have no choice but to submit to us, basically, because we own everything. And while you were sleeping, here's what's happened. While you were busy trying to live your lives and do your best and pay for everything, taxed you to death, you know, basically, like, that's not a real life. You can't live life this way. That's why, again, live is not, is evil, spelled backwards, because we're not really living. We're half alive. Like Nancy Reagan said, just say no. Nancy Reagan said that? Don't doubt it. Those were never mandatory. No, but they're still, they force mandatory on you and have the people turn on you, and the law, and people beat down you. Like, I've known so many people who've been beaten up for not wearing a mask or complying and made to feel like a disease just because everybody is afraid to stand up, so they rather just turn on people who are brave enough to, which is such a messed up thing. They should be all rebelling against this. Like, when you get beaten down, and you're hungry and you're poor and you're tired and you just want to go back to the delusion of normal life, whatever that is, how life used to be, and won't, then anyone who represents killing that hope is someone to attack, apparently. What do you think about reality management? I need to have a bit more context there before I comment. I think it's a scare tactic, threatening us with extra crap on the horizon. I don't think that this is fear porn, because it's a reality. We're seeing it happening. I'm seeing friends and families lose their homes. I'm seeing, we're seeing the fires. So fear porn is dystopian future movies, right? Things that could happen, that haven't happened, but this is happening right now. So this is reality, and it's not negative, it's not positive, but it's reality, and we have to face it for what it is in order to do something. We can't just say, oh, that's fear porn, I'm not going to pay attention to that. Well, until it affects you, until your home is targeted and you have nowhere to go but to rely on the government. Sorry. So I think that it's just, you can say it's a scare tactic to be forced to a certain solution that they want, just taking all other solutions away, right? What we created in our reality right now, this moment, with our energy and thought and action spread in and out throughout Mother Earth and the universe, meaning we have so much responsibility on a daily basis. Well, that's the ramifications of our creations, but it's not just our individual thoughts, it's our collective thoughts too, right? We work together on this, which is also when I talk about like lucid living, that you have to be lucid in your dreams in order to change dreams, particularly your nightmares. The waking life is a nightmare that all the nightmares that we've ran away from follow us into waking life, where you have to deal with it there. So Mother Earth knows that we're also under a spell, and we're playing these roles where we just don't know what we're doing, right? So that's not an excuse, though. After a while, like, we have to know what we're doing. We have to wake up and do something about it. Who's Anastasia? It's from the Ringing Cedars of Russia books. I read the whole series out loud on my channel. You can find the playlist. There's 10 books. And that's what this Ringing Cedar pendant is that I wear around my neck, that I've been wearing around my neck for some 20 years in pretty much all my videos. The bourgeois beatniks here. Sharing with light and a hedge of protection. Oh, thank you. Quantum hypnosis. Yeah, pretty much that's what it is. Having a Central Valley is feeling blessed here in a clown world, but not of the in the world, but not of it. Yes, I used to say this all the time. A gyroscope proves the Earth is still and a level plane. Maybe. Wow, where can I find this interview? Billy Meyer's teachings having changed me immensely. Interesting, you have connections. Billy Meyer's done a ton of interviews and books and stuff like that. A lot of them have been, are just very old, and I don't know if people have remastered them or anything. I think there's some articles you can probably find online if those aren't being scrapped as well. Yeah. If not, I'll try to find it. Sometimes I look at so much stuff I forget what I've looked at and where it is. It just kind of sticks in my memory. Okay, when we talk about the blue people, they live inside the planet. Have you seen it inside the Earth? Yes, I've gone inside the Earth. My dad, when he passed, before passing, he knew he was going to pass. He used the transition as an opportunity to decide where he wanted to go next, and he chose to go to the inner Earth. So that's where he is. Not quite in a physical form. Another dimensional form. My sister's in a physical form in the States, and my brother is in a sort of place of healing on the way back to source, and doesn't want to come back here for who knows how long. But this is information I got through my Dolores Cannon's students' sessions. My interview, I don't think I've ever really done an interview about my experience with Simyasi that I can think of. It might be scattered throughout some various interviews that I've done, and I've done a lot of interviews and videos on my channel. Might be somewhere in my blogs. Some of them are very long, like over 400 pages, one chapter alone. And still people are upset that they're too short. I say your writing is like crack, it's so addicting. But I'm actually very, very nervous to write. I haven't written in a long time. Because when I write, it's like a waterfall and so much information comes out of me, and it almost like doesn't let me sleep. And I have this crazy memory of everything I wrote, exactly where it is, and where, if I have fragment pieces that come to me later on, which tends to always happen, then I have to like wake up in the middle of the night and like be told exactly, my memory knows exactly where it is and where it should be placed in these pages and pages of information. It's really, really wild. And it's very annoying because every time I think I'm done, like, oh, here's more waterfall pouring through, and it's very overwhelming and a lot to contain, and so I'm very nervous about writing. So that's why I haven't written in a while. Wasn't Billy Meyer corrupted by archons, a betrayer, and betrayed by the Pleiades? There's a whole bunch of theories and information out there to discredit him. Maybe later on in life he did get corrupted. That tends to happen when you speak and put yourself out there. So it might also not be fully him. It might be a version of him from the other side, just to discredit the message and the information, because that's threatening information, right? So the Pleiadians are not all good. They're like, there is not like the reptilians are the only bad ones because they're reptilian. It's not like that. There are good reptilians. There are not so good reptilians, right? It also depends on the perspective. Like a snake or a dragon could be seen as a bad reptilian, and a frog could be seen as a good one, depending on, perspective, basically, right? But it's just like the Pleiadians are not all good. And so there could also have been a lot of kind of tampering there. And that it is true, though, that the Pleiades are here to right. A lot of them are involved with us because they're here to right a terrible wrong. They are a younger race compared to Adronomans, for example, who are much more mature. The Pleiadians are also they're like teenagers. They're rebel teenagers in a way that they want to challenge the Prime Directive. Yes, Star Trek. Yeah, it really is like that. They can't interfere to a degree. So they're trying to challenge those rules, and why does it have to be that way? If we don't do something this time, something serious is going to happen. So they're a bit of out of the box rebels in this way, whereas others are saboteurs who are working with the dark side. Again, it's not so black and white. And what else was I going to say about this? So the wrong that the Pleiadians came to right is in basically messing with our genetics and resulting in a lot of the population being destroyed and losing valuable genetics. That was a lot of work to bring back and recreate. But it was a serious, say, crime, whereas genetics are also a currency in the universe. So they know that that's the mistake that they've made, and they're invested in us in trying to correct that, because then they can move forward. And they have to, they sent themselves scattered throughout time to do certain things to fix that. So I have some part of work with them there. Let's see here. Randall Winters. Oh yeah, Randall Winters. I know him. I haven't heard that name in a while. Has read all of the contact tapes and also gave lectures on Meyer. Yeah, so there's a bunch of information there. I read all Billy Meyer releases on a weekly basis, but I meant your connection with Billy, and you mentioned some interviews. Yeah, but I don't know which ones. I can't think on the top of my head. I've done so many. And I don't, like I said, I don't know if it's in my writing or if it's in videos. Okay, I'll read through it. Read your 2012 and Beyond Part 1, Angels, Aliens, and Your Spirits Oh My. It was very good. I will read on. Oh yeah, those ones I wrote down and I read. And those are the ones that like are about like just pouring out of me, and so I had to like break it into all these parts back in the time where YouTube would only let you make like only 10-15 minute long videos, so it's a lot of annoying editing and breaking up on my part. Yes, I agree with you, Jessica. It's happening. Scare tactics in the sense of living in fear. I almost got killed on my motorbike, but I wasn't in fear of riding. Just knew the dangers were real. So yeah, like you have a close call, but that doesn't mean you should stop doing something you enjoy if you like to ride a motorbike, you know, for the fear of what can happen, because like if you're meant to go, then you're just meant to go. That's it, right? So doesn't mean like we should just stop living altogether and doing the things we enjoy. And they're cooperative governments. Yeah. The best movie about death I saw was Astro City No Solar. It's a Brazilian movie. Which movie about death is the best you saw? Ooh. Well, first of all, I've never heard of this movie, so I definitely want to look this up. Can I screenshot this thing here? I'll try. Hopefully I don't lose you guys. Ooh, I did it. The only one that's coming to my mind, but it's not necessarily to me the best movie about death, and I mean it's creative, but I think it's too westernized, and I think it could be so much better. Um, it was What Dreams May Come, but there's other ones that I want to think of that would be way better. But it's just nothing's coming to me. Mm. That's why also I work in the film industry, because I also want to make movies and stories that we haven't told yet, uh, from a divine perspective, from using subliminal messages to wake people up and not put them more deeper to sleep. I saw a Nordic being over 30 years ago at a rave get together, but I was on a micro dose of LSD trip for 12 hours. Yeah, no, I've never been to a rave, and I've never done LSD. Um, but I bet you see all kinds of interesting beings under stuff like that. Um, I don't see any more comments. I've reached the bottom of my comments, and I'm at 111 hours. Not hours, minutes. Ow! I'm so backwards. Yeah, I know it's getting late for you guys, so best to let everybody. I think that's the key, to let everybody go now. It was nice to connect with all of you guys. Thanks for being there for me to just share all of this. And I hope you're all well, and I send you lots of just love and gratitude, and thank you so much for you being you, and shedding your light and with this world, and awakening in consciousness, and just keep doing it, keep it up. We're so close, and it's okay to cry, it's okay to, get all these emotions out, just have just a good release and continue on. Good night. Hugs. Thank you. Bye.